Welcome to Future Ready with Bechtle, the podcast where we explore the technologies, ideas and strategies that are shaping tomorrow's workplace. Each episode we'll bring together thought leaders, innovators and industry experts from within Bechtle to discuss how organisations can adapt, grow and thrive in a world defined by constant change. From AI to cloud, cybersecurity and sustainability and on to the modern workplace, we'll help you cut through the noise and get future ready. Welcome to Future Ready with Bechtle. I'm here with Neil King from the Office of the CTO here in the UK, one of my colleagues. And we're going to talk today a little bit about private AI. Neil, I'll open it up. What is private AI and what's the biggest kind of misconception customers have about it?
So private AI is exactly what it says. It's private AI. Generally what you have out there at the moment is customers think that AI is all in the cloud. Mm-hmm. It's public. Look at the chat GPTs, the co-pilots to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Private AI is ring-fenced in your own network, guardrails around it, using your own data, your own security, your own infrastructure. And it's more secure for those customers that are concerned about security and data breaches and data leakage and things like that.
See, that's really interesting because I think it feels like it's a big part of that answer for where I want data control. And I remember listening to, I think it was Alistair Edwards from Canalis back at our tech summit. It might have been last year or the year prior, to be fair. And he was describing there's a huge percentage of data that's still on-prem, and that's on-prem for a reason, right? It's either it's too sensitive to put into the cloud, or it's too big, or latency is really important. So this, I suppose, it gives people a way of bringing the AI stack to that data to be able to utilize it.
Absolutely, it's bringing AI to the data. If you go for a cloud AI platform, you've got to take the data to the cloud. Okay, that becomes expensive, a lot of heavy lifting, and customers are concerned by that. If you've got private AI, you bring AI to the data. There are various things you can do. There's a lot of siloed data out there from customers. You might have branch offices. You may have data that's sat in a different geographical location to your HQ. There might be edge devices and edge data. You bring AI to the data. So there's no heavy lifting there involved.
No, and I suppose that gives customers the opportunity to explore AI without the same data sovereignty, compliance considerations. Is that a big driver for people for when looking at this technology?
It's huge. There's some verticals out there, to name just a few: legal, government, health. The data sovereignty is top of mind. It's 100% top of mind. Things like GDPR, HIPAA, you have to conform to those regulations that are out there. There are some countries, geographical countries in the world, maybe France and Germany, that don't allow data outside of their own borders. Okay, if you're in a cloud environment and you're using an API that was developed in the USA, for example, you can't use that, right? So it's all about owning the data, making the data work for you in your own environment that's hopefully already secure and compliant for your use cases.
So how do I start going and building that infrastructure? What does that look like? Is this a stack of servers? Is it, are there particular vendors that you engage with? If I have that, what do I need to kind of build this mission?
So I always look at it. There's three flavors, and I'll do an analogy. It's a Lego analogy. If your CEO comes to you and says, build me a Lego Empire State Building, there's three ways you can do that, and I want it as soon as possible. Three ways you can do that. You can go to the Lego store, go to the Lego wall, and pick out all the pieces individually. High risk, high complexity. How many times do you think you'd have to go back to the Lego store to pick up pieces that you forgot to get or you just didn't realize you even needed. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one is you can buy a kit, right? You can go to the Lego store and buy an Empire State Building kit. In there, there's going to be 2,000 pieces, all of them for the Empire State Building. Okay, perfect, no problem. Then you're going to have an instruction manual, which I think for the Empire State Building is probably, excuse my geekiness, but maybe 150 pages long, right? It comes in a kit, you've got everything you need, and you build it following the instructions. That's the second one. The third one is you pay for someone to build you the Empire State Building out of Lego. It's quick, it's easy, they deliver it to you, you deliver it to your CEO. Private AI is exactly like that. So first of all, you can do DIY. You can build your servers. You can buy your GPUs, your CPUs, your memory. Then you have to layer on softwares and modules and it's inherent risk. You're gonna fail so many times, and it's going to take you a long time to get to where you need to be. Next one is buy a server, which is built with the GPUs and CPUs and everything. You have to buy storage, of course. You might have to buy networking. Then you have to put it all together following an instruction manual, which is probably a little more than 150 pages long. But on software, drivers, make sure everything works together. Again, high risk, can take a long time, easier than your DIY. Or you can buy a turnkey solution. So literally there are vendors out there, the Dells, the HPEs, where you buy a rack, you wheel that rack in, you plug it in, you power it on. It's all there. Networking, storage, servers. And there's also in partnership with NVIDIA, you get all the software and it's all pre-tested, pre-certified. You can add modules. You don't have to add all the modules. You pick and choose whatever your needs are.
So that's really interesting. I mean, it seems in a world where AI has been, or particularly generative AI has been very much that software as a service model has been where people have gone to get that technology. Having the option to go and get a turnkey solution from a major vendor, if I want to own that, own and control that space, becomes really important to me. But what does that look like from an end user and a technical point of view? You know, what capabilities do we get out of those sorts of solutions?
So it's not one size fits all, right? So you can buy a turnkey solution, and you can configure it, manage it for your use cases. So, example, a customer in the legal vertical will have a very different use case to someone in the retail vertical. And having a turnkey solution that enables you to add and customize any modules you want is a huge benefit.
When I've got those different modules and those different options around my private AI system, you know, what does that look like? Do I have like a ChatGPT interface? Is there modules for data analytics? Is it a case of literally a menu of picking, you know, what's out there and being able to install it from the vendors at this moment in time?
Absolutely, yes. So I was actually in the interface. It was a HP's PCAI interface yesterday on a training course, and it's tiles.
Okay.
It's run by HP Green Cloud. Is it Green Cloud?
Green Lake.
Green Lake.
Green Cloud.
Lake. Apologies.
Sorry, HP's marketing.
Sorry,
They'll
HP.
live. I mean, I'm sure they've spent millions trying to convince us that we should know that, but it'll be fine.
Hey,
right?
I got the green right, didn't I?
You got the green right.
So I was in there. It was a Green Lake interface, and there's tiles, and you can pick the tile, and you can say yes, install, and it will go off and it'll add all the necessary modules. There's also I think it's Happy Face. I think is one of the websites out there which has hundreds, thousands of modules that can be imported as well.
Okay.
So yeah, you customize it, you make it your own.
I suppose that's that then mitigates some of the concern that when we talk about on-premise solutions or buying a stack of servers, always the thing in the back of my mind is, am I getting sunk cost? Am I ending up with something that is sized for a particular service or is going to become obsolete? If you've got that curated list of software, then that mitigates that to an extent. And I should imagine the rest of it's modular, so you can kind of grow up as you need.
Yeah. It's definitely modular. So you can add, so the key thing for me is a customer should start small. And then when they see the benefit, maybe they start really, really small and they've got a pilot. Okay. And then when that pilot is successful and they've achieved what they set out to do, their business objectives with that pilot, they put it into production. And then you might find that, there's a lot of AI workloads and opportunities are driven by lines of business within a customer, right? So you may pick one line of business and do a pilot. When that pilot goes into production, you might find other lines of business within that customer say, oh, this is really cool. We didn't realize that AI could do this for us. We didn't know how it could monetize our data like this for us, right? So with these turnkey solutions, they're modular. You can start expanding. You can scale up. You can scale out, right? There are certain things that you need to, if it's an HP or a Dell solution, there are certain rules that you need to follow for scaling up and scaling out. But you can grow your private AI hardware platform to the upper limits of whatever that particular platform supports.
Is your Microsoft Copilot adoption program failing to deliver for you? Are you unsure that you've got the right training for your people? Are you failing to keep up with the change and new features that Microsoft are releasing regularly? Then reach out to Bechtle. We can help. We can help you understand what's coming and how your business can best benefit and build a program that works for you. So what we're saying now is that we're moving away from just this world where if I wanted AI, I needed to come to terms with sharing my data outside of my organizational boundary. And that might have some consequences in terms of governance, but also, the physical mass of data, which people smile at and go like, it's data, right? It doesn't have physical mass, but it does, it has weight, right? In moving it in a practical sense. You can move away from that. I'm able to build that stack that could be modular and grow with my business and grow. And I can literally just pick and choose the software modules that I need to grow that technology out. I mean, that's really compelling. That's pretty much a game changer, particularly for those regulated industries that you've described there. I mean, if I wanted to get started doing something like that, how do I go about that? Is that a case of I need to put aside a budget? Is there some sort of guide to start? Who do I speak to? What are the big vendors? Give us some feel about the practicalities of what that program looks like.
Yeah, so there's a certain amount of fear, I think, with customers I've spoken to as well, and that is really born off the back of cloud. Some customers that went into cloud really, really early because they thought it was the next big thing, and it was a disruptor in the industry. But some of those early adopters came back out of that, or are coming back out of it right now with some intrepidation, some fear, growing costs. The realization that moving data up there was heavy lifting, but then getting it back out is quite expensive. What we need to do from a customer perspective is waylay that fear of AI, particularly when it comes to private AI. There's a framework that should be used when you go to a customer who are a little bit fearful about AI and what it can do, and the amount of data they have and things like that. And all you need to do is go in and you need to find those key personas in a customer, and there's various ones. There's an IT director, right, who's got to support this infrastructure. There's a CISO and a security department team that are looking at things like security. Is it zero trust architecture? Is there role-based access control, things like that? We need to make it super secure. There's the chief data officer and the data scientists and the data engineers that need to know that they can work with that platform with the data that they have. Line of business owners bring you the opportunities, right? We want a particular AI to be able to do this for us, and that's what you focus on. And you have to speak to those people, right? And then we talk about data as well. That data could be spread all over the place, as I've already mentioned. Private AI will have connectors out to different data silos, if you like, and we'll be able to ingest that data. At that point in time, because it's still within your private network, there's no risk of data leakage. If it's going out to a public cloud, you can build and configure that private AI for your use case, as opposed to obeying rules and regulations in the cloud and running those risks. So, yeah, sorry, you're
No. I just really interesting. I mean, I suppose that's the big thing, right? Is that it's a journey to get to develop that through. And I suppose the big thing I would be trying to understand is what are the key things that make private AI more appealing than software as a service or cloud AI, as it were. What are those? Is it just purely regulatory? Is it data weight? Is there certain functionality that just works better because it's lower latency or?
So, when I talk about private AI, private AI isn't anti-cloud. It's more pro-control, right? So you control everything. And those customer verticals I've mentioned, those customer verticals that have to, be completely aligned and obey GDPR and HIPAA out in the States, they have to have control over their data. Otherwise, it means massive fines to that company, right?
So to summarize, then what you were saying there, Neil, is that for the decision point in terms of private AI versus cloud AI, you put it quite clearly earlier to me when you were saying it's not anti-cloud, it's pro-control.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's about having that data and that ownership and that clarity of what's happening in a world where we're not really certain, and fear is still an overriding emotion that you encounter when you speak to businesses, you speak to business owners. Probably the single most common barrier to adopting AI and getting the benefits that I encounter is that fear. And I suppose this gives the people an answer for it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, what you just said is absolutely true. The CISOs out there, they'll be more than happy that you have private AI, right? And that data is locked down with certain people having permissions, having zero trust architecture in there. No more sleepless nights.
And I suppose it feels that we're at a turning point as well as an industry, because if I look back to over the last 18 months, 24 months, since generative AI kind of burst onto the scene with that cloud AI and ChatGPT being kind of the big, we've gone through that learning process as an industry to understand, is this technology actually going to save time and money? So we know that large language models, we know that AI technologies can pay for themselves, right? And they can deliver a real return of investment for organisations. So much so that it's a huge thing in the boardroom about what's our strategy, how do we operationalise this, how do we take this to production, and I suppose that's kind of gives people the confidence that when you're investing in that capital outlay of that equipment. And you're talking about something that might have been 24 months ago, you might have felt a bit Heath Robinson bringing in your own environment. Now we're at this point where we've got a mature offering that we can offer customers, and they know that they can apply it into their businesses and it's going to deliver a return on investment. So it's not the great experiment, as it were. It's an actual tool that we can bring into the business and know that we're going to get return on investment from.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely return on investment. They will, because, like I said, the larger customers out there, particularly older companies that have historical data, they're looking to monetize their data. I mean, I've been in this industry. I mean, you can Check my head, same as you. It's been too long.
If you do a shift, this is what goes on, right?
Right. But they have decades worth of data that is sat in silos. That data can be monetized. The way you can monetize that data is by bringing it into a private AI solution and digging and finding the data and manipulating that data, which will turn around, bring something of value out to your company. I'll give an example, a retail example. It's so simple. Analyzing people's buying habits, right? Based on AI, and then you and I get a voucher through the mail, through the post, in an email for things we buy already.
Yeah.
You're monetizing the data, right? This is a very, very simple example.
But being able to do that much quicker, right?
Exactly.
And being able to do that with AI rather than having, reams and reams of data scientists that are going through that. I mean, I'm not saying, please, data scientists, you'll be fine, right? We're going to need you for some time as an issue. But being able to make that accessible and people able to utilize that data to make decisions on it and to change their businesses becomes really, really powerful. So all of a sudden you've got that old historic data that was just probably sat there being quite expensive to be able to interrogate and to get any you make it living and you can start to really use it within your business. So again, that's another use case, isn't it? I suppose is where I've got large amounts of historic data that at the moment I'm just storing for whatever purpose that we store our data for, compliance or whatever it may be, fear of deletion. And maybe there's some golden nuggets in there that we can mine and look for if we've got the right tools, and AI could be part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, there's a lot of, like I said, there's probably decades worth of data. There's probably a lot of noise out there as well. But the beauty of AI is that you can clean the data first. So you can get rid of unwanted data that has absolutely no value to it whatsoever. Clean that data, bring the clean data into AI, and then start manipulating that data. You're not wasting, valuable technical cycles and GPU cycles and things on data that's not going to bring any value whatsoever. And then you mentioned like a human factor, because you did say data scientist. I think one of the biggest fears as well, and you hear it bandied around, you go to the pub for a pint or whatever, and it's like, AI is going to replace me.
Yeah.
It's actually not. AI can't replace a human.
No.
AI can't think. What AI does is it looks for patterns. Right? And it brings back answers based on patterns that is recognized within data. It's certainly not replacing a human. It can't think.
Well, that's been really fascinating. It's obviously a very exciting area where we're actually starting to see a new generation of technologies that people can bring into their organization. If you could go back and you could engage with those customers at the beginning of this journey, what are the key things you want people to understand as early as possible? What would be the key message that you would take about?
Well, the first one is the human perspective, right? Because there are people out there that go, this is going to replace me. This is going to replace my job. It's not. And then I think going back to what I said before, you have to engage the right persona at your customers or within your company, right? Just having a brainwave saying, AI could do this for me. You have to go through a certain process to do it, okay? You have to engage with the key personas. You have to engage with, financial people as well to make sure that you've got a budget and things like that. Start small. I mentioned a pilot already. I think I read somewhere recently 1 in 10 AI pilots never make it into production. Right? It's because they were never set up correctly. There was never any KPIs formed. There was never a test plan, the objectives, success criteria. The right people weren't engaged. So just saying, hey, we've got AI, it doesn't cut it. So you've got to start small. And once you've started small with a small little pilot and you can prove to the business what it can do for you, that's when it begins to gain traction, and you can get that into production and grow it. So I think a lot like those early adopters of cloud. It's like, yep, let's go all in, right? We are cloud first, cloud only, call it what you want. A lot of customers, a lot of companies made mistakes with that. With AI, you could probably make those same mistakes if you go out and buy the biggest cluster you can possibly afford, and you throw loads of data. Remember what I said about clean data?
Yeah.
You allow it to ingest all your data. You're only ever going to get out of AI the value you put into it. So, it's just those things. If you start small. If I go to a customer now, I will say to them, okay, what are your objectives? Let's start small. Let's make sure this works in your environment, and then grow it.
So start small. Get somebody that's an expert with a Lego kit for you.
Love the Lego.
Retain control of your data.
Absolutely.
And being able to scale isn't just the purview of cloud AI. It can be done on-prem.
Yeah.
Once you've proved the business case.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's it.
Thanks very much, Neil. It's been really, really interesting. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.